Hello and welcome back everyone. Christmas is just around the corner and I wanted to make a quick video for all of you just before that about a very well-known mythical figure from Icelandic folklore, Grýla. We will explore together its origins, some of the myths surrounding her, and her place in modern Icelandic folklore and pop culture. Once again, it's hard to pinpoint exactly when the legends about the fearsome Grýla really started, but we know that stories about her can date back hundreds of years. In fact, one of the first mentions of the giantess in literature was around the 13th century in the prose Edda, and she's also mentioned in the Sverris saga, where she was presented as a massive, horrible giantess. But it was only in a poem in the 17th century that she eventually got associated with the Christmas tradition as we know it today. By that time, she became known as the mother of the Yule lads, a group of 13 young mischievous beings who were known for their malignant intents and troublesome pranks. These early poems usually described her as a hideous troll with grotesque features and a very big appetite for misbehaving children. Over time, Grýla's description changed a lot. Sometimes, she was presented as a giant hag with long hair, dirty rags, and a horrible face. And more recently, she was described as an old, grotesque and haggard woman with pale, wrinkly skin, an old crooked nose, long, sharp claws, and a bag filled with many children on her back. Another poem also presented her as a giant troll with 15 tails and bags tied to each tail to gather up the children that would ultimately end up in her boiling pot. Overall, although her physical description changed quite a lot over time, her personality and what she represented usually stayed the same. One of the most interesting things about Grýla is her unique ability to sniff out children that were naughty during the year. She could know exactly where they were hiding, and she used that ability to catch them and bring them to her lair, add them to her stew, boil them alive, and eat them. That was by far her favorite meal. That usually happened once a year during the Christmas season. She would come down from the mountains where she dwelled and start hunting children. But she was not alone. As I mentioned earlier, she had 13 sons, or brothers in other versions, known as the Yule lads. Originally, the Yule lads were presented as very mischievous beings. However, over time, their perception slowly changed, and today they're mostly seen as benevolent mythical figures who travel to towns and villages every day up until Christmas Eve to give sweets and presents to the kids that were nice during the year. Grýla also had a husband, a lazy and relatively stupid troll known as Lepaludi, and according to the legends, this was her third husband. The other two, Gustur and Boli, ended up being devoured by her a long time ago. And finally, to round up this happy troll family, there was the Yule cat, also known as Jólakötturinn, a huge cat that lurked around on Christmas Eve looking for people that didn't receive any new clothes to devour them. Today, the legend of Grýla is still very much alive and represents an important aspect of Icelandic folklore, which is why she's still celebrated and why children know about her. During the holiday season, it is not uncommon to see Grýla and the Yule lads depicted in all sorts of Icelandic art and decorations. They also appear in literature and media, and overall represent a unique tradition that still lives on in Iceland. So this concludes today's video. Thanks again everyone for watching and following the channel, and I hope you enjoyed it. Now then, Merry Christmas to all of you, and I hope to see you all very soon for more.